In NASCAR, like most sports, tempers will flare from time to time, whether it's on-track disagreements, post-race brawls, or nowadays social media callouts. The sport has and always will see tempers and rivalries. Sometimes these rivalries can get to the point where they are dangerous and out of control. One rivalry in particular took several years to develop and play out. I'm going to introduce you to the Kurt Busch and Jimmy Spencer rivalry, one of, if not the most dangerous rivalries in NASCAR. This story first begins at Phoenix in 2001. During the closing laps of the race, cameras would catch multiple cars crashing in turns 3 and 4. One of the drivers involved was the 97 of Kurt Busch. Now, Kurt Busch was an up-and-coming driver for Jack Roush, but he was notoriously known early on as being an instigator. In the 2001 Daytona 500, we would see the great Dale Earnhardt show Kurt Busch a special gesture. It was safe to say that back in Kurt's early years, he was ticking off drivers at a frequent rate. After watching replays, it appeared that the 26 car of Jimmy Spencer was responsible for spinning Kurt Busch out. Now, Spencer and Busch didn't have a run-in up to this point, right? Well, actually, on the backstretch, Kurt would send his car down and make contact with Spencer. Now, let's get a little background on Jimmy Spencer. Spencer was known to many as Mr. Excitement. This nickname was for a reason. Spencer was a very aggressive driver and a bit of a hardhead. Bottom line, he was a great friend to be around, but a worse enemy to have. Alright, let's get back to Phoenix. Spencer would show his displeasure with Kurt Busch's bonsai move and spin the 97 out, basically ending his day. Did Kurt deserve to get wrecked here? Well, I'll let you guys decide who is in the wrong more throughout this video. So let me know in the comments your thoughts on round 1 between the two of these drivers. The date is March 24th, 2002 at the Bristol Motor Speedway. The then-known NASCAR Winston Cup Series is running the 6th race of the year, the Food City 500. Late in the race, once again, we would find some familiar faces battling in the closing laps. Jimmy Spencer was in a new ride for the season. He was piloting Chip Ganassi Racing's number 41 Target Dodge. During this race, we would see Spencer show some dominance, as up to this point he had 50 laps led. He now found himself running down the 97. Kurt Busch was battling for his first career win. Coming out of turn 4, Busch would wiggle, allowing Spencer to get to his inside, and for the next lap, Spencer would be on the attack mode. But surprisingly, he didn't really rough up Kurt Busch at all. Jimmy grabbed the lead from Kurt Busch, but then in the next turn, Busch would drive through the back bumper and door of the 41 to retake the lead. Spencer would almost wreck his car trying to save it, but he would continue on still in second place. This interaction between the two of them was strange because Spencer ran Busch clean up to this point, but Busch just used him up in the following turn. Was this payback for Kurt Busch from Phoenix, or perhaps was he hungry for his first win? Once again, I'll let you guys make your own judgment. It is important to note that up to this point, this is what Bristol was all about, the bump and run. But Kurt Busch nearly destroyed Jimmy Spencer. So again, this is what the old Bristol was, but Jimmy Spencer passed him cleanly. So what really happened between the two of them? Kurt Busch would not get away easily with this during the race, as a late caution came out and allowed the field to bunch back up for a restart. So of course you'd think Mr. Excitement was going to drive through the back bumper of the 97, right? Well, he never really got close enough to try it. Busch would drive away and capture his first career Cup Series victory. I truly believe if Jimmy Spencer had gotten close enough with 1 or 2 to go, he would have attempted to pile drive Busch into the grandstands for the earlier move, but we'll never know. Surprisingly, Spencer was very calm in his post-race interview.
He has a smile since he got here. What happened between you and the winner, Kurt Busch?
Oh, he just smashed into the back bumper of my target car, but it had a big bullseye back there, and I guess he couldn't see too good, and he ends up winning the race that way. But I'll tell you, Team Target just ran really well today, and you know, I just think that it's pretty neat to come out of here with a top 5 finish. I felt like we should have had that last week also. The team is really, really strong, you know, and we'll get wins. There's no question in my mind we will, and the guys have done just an absolutely excellent job making calls on these cars, adjusting them, and we're getting better every week.
Second time you finish here in second position at Bristol, Tennessee. Jimmy, everybody thinks you're going to win. What do you think?
Oh, I know it. I think I'm going to win this year, and I'm going to win more than once, Dick. You know, I really truly believe that. But you can't race. There's a lot of things you can and can't do, and one thing you can't do is just beat and bang with people and knock them up out of the way, especially racing for the lead. And you know, I notice a lot of guys don't do that, and they're the Winston Cup champions, like myself and Gordon did earlier in the race. And I really admire him the way he raced me, and I raced him. And some guys have to learn. They just have to learn the hard way.
Round 3 of this saga takes place during the 2002 Brickyard 400. During the race, cameras would cut to a wrecked Kurt Busch, and at first we didn't see who dumped him. After replay was confirmed that Jimmy Spencer destroyed Kurt Busch at over 185 miles per hour. This is the part where the rivalry started to get dangerous. Did Kurt Busch deserve some sort of payback for Bristol? Yes. Did it need to happen at a track where speeds were very high? No. Kurt Busch not only got out of his car and signaled to Jimmy Spencer as he drove by under caution, but then he gave us an interview that would take this rivalry to a whole new level.
Well, Kurt Busch has just stepped out of the infield care center. Kurt, what do you think happened out there?
Just been having troubles with turn 3 this weekend. In qualifying, we spun, and that put us in a bad position back there with the decrepit old has-beens, I guess. It's just been a tough way. I mean, when he calls out what he's going to do and then actually goes out there and does it, I mean, I guess he's a never-was is really the term that we need to bring up today.
So we would never hear Spencer's take on this incident at the time, but in 2021, Spencer would appear on Dale Jr.'s podcast and have this to say about the Indy situation.
This Bobby Allison taught me how to do that.
So let's get.
So you are admitting it. I admit it. I spun that sumbitch out, and I hope he broke his neck.
Oh, geez.
Oh my God.
So he goes.
Pretty harsh words, but we're about to enter a new level of escalation with this rivalry. In the remaining laps of the 2003 Michigan race, we would once again see these two battling it out towards the front of the pack. Funny how that always seemed to work out between these two. Coming down the front stretch, contact would be made between the two of them, maybe accidental, maybe not. But after the checkered flag was out and the drivers were making their way back to the garage, the next installment of this rivalry would take place.
You better. What do you got? You have the run of your life.
Jimmy Spencer would punch Kurt Busch while Kurt was still sitting in his race car. Nobody knew it at the time, but then NASCAR released in-car radio, and it was confirmed that Kurt Busch was trying to intentionally wreck Jimmy Spencer. This wasn't the reason for the punch, though, as it was revealed in 2021 that Kurt Busch threatened Jimmy Spencer's family.
To the car. I go up to the car. He says, "You old decrepit has-been, I know where your family lives." And I went like that, and he swings at me.
But he's in the car.
He's in the car. This is how stupid this person can be.
All right.
I went, "You stupid son of a bitch." Boom. And I saw the blood, and I went, "Holy shit, no. You coward."
So now this rivalry has literally gotten physical, and NASCAR would step in and suspend Jimmy Spencer for the following race at Bristol. The irony of it all was that this was one of the tracks that originated this rivalry. Like I previously mentioned, NASCAR released the in-car audio, so the fans were on Spencer's side during the Bristol weekend. Fans were repping their free Mongo shirts and signs. Anyone who wasn't a Kurt Busch fan was on Jimmy Spencer's side. Unfortunately for the people who backed Spencer, they would be disappointed in the outcome of the Bristol night race, as Kurt Busch would go on to win, and he received the proper response from the fans in victory lane.
And it was a place where he was trying to let me go. And I was trying to get into one and set him up and get underneath him out of two. So apologize to Sterling. I didn't mean to do that. And that somewhat overshadows this. Obviously the probation does, but this was a night for sure.
This would be the final act of this feud, as Spencer would return to racing the following week at Darlington, and after NASCAR's suspension, both he and Kurt Busch settled down. There is an interesting thing to add, and that's the fact that Jimmy Spencer would go out and wreck on his opening qualifying lap during the Darlington weekend. Karma or irony? I'll let you be the judge. As for the two of them, they would settle their differences years later, but it is quite interesting to hear what they both had to say about each other years later on different podcasts. Kurt seemed to show more respect, while Spencer was still holding on to the past a little bit, but he still respected Kurt Busch in the end. But again, that's Mr. Excitement's personality.
Time is all
water
things.
under the bridge, yeah.
Yeah.
I was happy with the way it worked out because it helped me become a stronger racer in the beginning. He taught me how to be tougher.
I didn't really intend to, I just bitch slapped him.
Yeah.
That's all I did. He ain't a man because he couldn't take a punch. Because the fans didn't know how bad that driver was. He's a terrible driver. Got fired from Roush, got fired from Penske, got fired from everywhere he worked. I mean, all truthfulness. Your old man told me one time, if he fingers me one more time, Spencer, I'm going to break his hand. I'll stick it up his ass.
I would love to hear if the two of them ever sat down together and had a podcast where they talked about this whole situation. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I want to know. Did it start at Phoenix? Was it for when they were racing for race wins? Was it for other reasons? I just want to know what was the true meaning of this rivalry, because the fact that it started in 2001 and carried over into 2003 is pretty incredible. So let me know down in the comments what you think about this rivalry, who is right, who is wrong, or if they were both wrong, if they were both right. I'd love to hear you guys' opinions. I appreciate you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.